DMV Hoop Session presents the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League, showcasing the best high school basketball in the DMV. DMV Hoop Session presents the John Carroll Patriots versus the DeMatha Stags, Capital Hoop Summer League playoff game.
And from DeMatha Catholic High School here in Hyattsville, Maryland, it is our first of our two semifinal games here of the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League playoffs. Noah Schubert on the call, soon to be joined by Isaac Harris. It's DeMatha, it's John Carroll, the 1 versus 13, going at it for the first spot in the championship game of the 2024 Summer League. And initially, it's John Carroll with the defense. Aiden Abel swings it across. James Westervelt will try his hand. Gets stopped up, three-pointer on the way, and a rims in and out, rebound down to Big Bo Daniels, and Isaac Harris joining me finally as we get to our game time here. And Isaac, it's DeMatha, it's John Carroll. DeMatha, the hosts of this tournament, the #1 seed, undefeated, going into these playoffs with a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations.
Yeah, no, this game is trying to get back. You know, the whole revenge season after that devastating loss in the tournament last year, going against a very, very skilled and smart John Carroll team. So I'm expecting DeMatha to try to go there with a little chip on their shoulder in this game.
As it'll be free throws to start for the Stags. Neither team was able to come up with points on their first possessions.
Not a bad start with the speed of the game. Although there's no score right now, I like the tempo that DeMatha is trying to still pace offensively for what I saw for a little bit.
As the first points of the game coming from the free throw line. 47 seconds in, it's Ace Meeks. Goes 2 for 2, making quite an appearance here. He only played one game in the regular season, and he's one of their best and most versatile players. And here he is when they need him most in the semifinals, a player we didn't expect to be playing, but adds a fantastic layer to this DeMatha team.
Ace adds experience in his speed and his athleticism. He's going to be a high flyer for a Power 5 at some point. He adds that for this DeMatha team, especially trying to make this playoff push.
Pull-up jumper falls short for Jacob Wallace, out of bounds. John Carroll basketball. Now, as I mentioned, Meeks only playing in one game, the 5'10" senior guard. Put up 8 points, 2 assists, and 3 steals in his lone game that he played, as Daniels overshoots it in the first points for Caden Chania Feline for John Carroll.
Big bucket, and the way they broke that press, as we mentioned, we talked before a little bit in prep, DeMatha is going to try to full court press him and try to make them little brother him. I love that John Carroll's trying to find a way to break it.
Sebastian triggers and hits the first 3 of the game. Cade Sebastian, he hit 4 of them in the quarterfinals game for the Stags. There's a foul on Aiden Abel, who will shoot 2.
Great trigger from Sebastian. We talked about that. He was going to be a key factor for them at least. If he's hot, he's hot. If he's not hot, he's going to be a little streaky, and we'll see who tries to carry that weight back. But John Carroll, they're breaking the press somehow. Unbelievable. I love seeing it.
Aiden Abel, an 82.7% free throw shooter in the regular season. Misses the first. 6'1" junior guard who has really made a name for himself here in the Summer League and in the live period. Put up 21 points per game in the regular season. And he hits the second one. John Carroll closes the gap, 5-3 lead for DeMatha, 14:20 to play in the first half. Wallace breaking down. Chania Feline drives inside strong, and a late whistle as Wallace is fouled.
Interesting, not an interesting foul, but I wouldn't make that foul too soon, especially this early in the half. You gotta wait a little bit. Sometimes you gotta let it go.
So that foul's gonna go against James Westervelt. Puts Jacob Wallace, the senior guard, on the line. Was a real force and a person who was driving this team in Meeks' absence, and he hits the first free throw. Put up 9 points, 4 boards, and 5 assists at DeMatha's quarterfinal win, a 61-59 buzzer beater victory over the Tenley Tigers in a rematch of last year's championship matchup. Of course, it was Jamal McKnight Jr. hitting the last second 3. Wallace goes 2 for 2. That put DeMatha in this situation. Now, John Carroll very different game they played. Absolutely handled the Seahawks of South River, 65-50, the win there for the Patriots. There's a nice 1-2 entry pass, broken up, and who else but Meeks up the court to a high-flying Wallace who finishes with 2 hands.
Great play by Meeks, great defense by DeMatha. Carroll's got to find a way to keep doing that 1-2 plays with those passes.
And just absolutely picking his pockets and laying it in smoothly. Meeks already making a name for himself. 4 points, the Stags lead 11-3. Poked out of bounds at 13:36 to go, and this DeMatha defense is already proving to be the major difference between these two squads. We talked about it pregame. Their press is like nothing else you'll see in this entire tournament.
It's supposed to suffocate the offensive opponent and try to bring him to make those mistakes, and so far it's been pretty effective.
As the trap, John Carroll able to break free from it. Abel tracks it down low, and the two-handed finish for Andrew Clark, getting his hands dirty.
That ball movement all the way to the Clark has to be patient and poised the entire time to break this press for John Carroll to try to have a chance.
Already a very fast-paced game, 13:16 on the clock. Sebastian thought about the three, turns around, and has it stolen away by Aiden Abel, getting in the mix. Up court, Westervelt, 50-50 ball, and it's going to be last touched by DeMatha, but a foul called in the process. So that'll put it underneath the basket for the Patriots. John Carroll in the all-black uniforms, DeMatha in the blues. Stags led by head coach Mike Jones. Seth Goldberg on the other bench for John Carroll.
Appears we have an issue with the clock. Noah, something's going on.
I'm not sure what the contention was. And I think it's because there was a foul. They're calling for a reset of the shot clock. I think that's the issue here, is because Westervelt was fouled.
Right.
But it was on the floor, so I think that play should just continue.
I think so too, if that's the case. I mean, who would have? Okay, well, play's going to continue. Okay, there we go.
It's Daniels, Bowser, Meeks, Wallace, and Sebastian on the floor for DeMatha, and the inbounds pass goes off the backboard, and that is a costly turnover for John Carroll as they trail by 6. Look, I don't know if they were trying to get an alley-oop or an entry pass, but it clanged off the backboard and out of bounds. Wallace, he's going to get some pressure going down the floor from Chinia Fayline. Dumps it off to Meeks. Meeks hesitates. Hasn't put the ball down yet. Now picks up his dribble with the left behind the back. Meeks up top to Daniels, sky high, trying to drive baseline, swings it. Fantastic vision at Sebastian. Grabs zone rebound off the miss. Wallace to Meeks. Meeks to the corner to Sebastian, 3 seconds. He's blocked off the side of the backboard, and that'll be a shot clock violation. Fantastic defensive set from John Carroll.
Fantastic defense from John Carroll, and it's hard to guard guys like Meeks who handle the basketball with like a yo-yo almost. So tight and so like crisp and like in that little shooter spot. So to force them to actually start making those passes and try to actually run some fluid offense rather than just trying to just attack the basket, proud of John Carroll for trying to step up and trying to do that. Now, the thing is, can they keep doing it consistently for the whole 90 minutes? I don't know. We'll find out.
Caden Walton and Jamal McKnight Jr. checking in for the Stags. Swing pass up the floor, and it gets to its target. Three-pointer on the way, rattles home. Nice shot from Chinia Fayline. He's got 5. Up the floor, Meeks down low. Daniels loses it. Carson Schofner takes advantage. And Daniels is there to force the issue. Such a versatile defense that DeMatha is setting. Down low, Daniels finished with the right, can't finish. Grabs on rebound, stuffed by the rim. Poked out, and it'll stay with the Stags with 18 to shoot. Absolute chaos underneath the basket there.
These guys are playing. Both teams are playing super hard. I know a couple years ago we saw a brawl almost take place in the semifinal. Noah, but obviously that was just more just like, hey, we're moving at both teams are moving at 110 miles an hour.
The artist battle checking in for John Carroll. Meeks gets it in. Right, Walton pull-up jumper off the back iron, tipped up. Rebound, put back up and in by Charles Thomas III. Thomas, the 6'6" senior forward, Newly checked in the game, gets his first points. 13-8 Stags lead, 11:37 to play in the first half. Abel stops. Nowhere to go. Finally finds a target. Paris Lee will put up a jumper, and it swishes in. Paris Lee from downtown.
Big jumper, big shot to try to cut this lead.
Down to a 2-point lead, 13-11 Stags up front. Swing out. Off the back of the rim. Schofner tracks down the rebound, and tenacity on defense with Caden Walton wins it back for the Stags. Meeks forced out by Schofner, now got the ISO one-on-one. Fouled on the floor. And Schofner comes up grabbing his left leg. 5'8" junior guard seems to be no worse for wear. Third team foul, on John Carroll. DeMatha has 2 themselves. Summer League rules, it's 7 fouls to the 1-and-1, no double bonus. Thomas flips it to McKnight, who was the hero in the quarterfinals. Back to Abast. McKnight with the left with 12 to shoot. McKnight takes the high screen, cross court. Wallace driving in with 5. Wallace somehow finds some room. Putback is in for Caden Walton. Caden Walton gets his first basket. Now a 4-point Stags lead, 15-11. Wow. And that was a powerful right-handed finish from Theardis Battle. It's going to get wiped off as the whistle blew beforehand on a foul on the floor by Walton. He ran into a screen. They're going to get him for out of control.
They got to slow down. John Carroll's got to really slow down here and really be patient. Don't let DeMatha speed up your offense right now.
Schofner, fresh shot clock to work with. One-on-one with McKnight. Flips it off. Kenya Fayline to the corner. Backing up Schofner. 10 seconds to shoot. That's a long three-pointer. Off the side of the rim. Rebound down to Jacob Wallace. Wallace trying to move quickly. Gets to McKnight. Behind the back. Sweet moves from McKnight. Back out. Three-pointer on the way. Good for Jacob Wallace.
Great shot selection by Wallace.
7 of DeMatha's 18 points have come from their senior guard. 18-11 lead for the Stags. Under 10 minutes to go in the half. Westervelt, nowhere to go, has to flip it off. Harris Lee to the top. And Chinia Fayline, the artist battle can't. And Charles Thomas finishes. DeMatha with the 9-point lead. Aiden Abel and Andrew Clark waiting to check back in. Carroll desperately needs them. There's a three-pointer. Off the heel, no good. Battle grabbing the rebound, putting it back up, and finally able to break the ice. Swing to Denny Abass. Going in with the left. Foul on the shot. Basket no good. He'll shoot 2. Seems like we can't catch our breath here as both teams are going back and forth. Really no one trying to use up the shot clock, or the ball movement is going crazy on both ends.
Yeah, and it seems like, in my opinion, based off watching the Summer League and watching the tape and watching your calls, only one team actually plays effectively at that speed, and that's DeMatha. I don't know why John Carroll's trying to play DeMatha's game. They should just need to slow them down to try to get this win.
As the 6'6" sophomore forward hits his first free throw.
No need to rush with the shot clock, right, Noah?
8.6 points per game in the regular season. Shot 54.5% from the line as 3 subs check in for John Carroll. He misses the second right on cue. And DeMatha grabs the rebound low. Fight for the basketball underneath John Carroll's hoop. Patriots come up with it. Abel, that was some heads-up basketball to draw the foul. He knew he had to pick up his dribble, so he tried to will his way through 2 guys and drew the contact.
It's usually called Coffin's Corner. Usually can't break that out, but hey, some guys do.
As Clark, Abel, and Zach Smith have checked in for the Patriots. They trail by 8, 8:50 to play in the first half. Patriots cross the timeline, Chinia Feline swings it, and reading it like a book, Jacob Wallace will easily lay it in the other way, and Wallace having a nice first half for himself. He's got 9. Stags lead up to double figures. Chinia Feline will try again, calling his own number, pull-up jumper off the front of the rim, rebound by Clark, put up, and in. Andrew Clark with 4. Other way, McKnight into the outstretched awaiting arms of Aiden Abel. Abel for 3, no. Jacob Wallace, he's just skying in for every rebound. To the corner, three-pointer coming, too strong. Board and the foul! Danny Abass back to the line, this time for a three-point play. Everything seems to be going right for DeMatha at this point in the game, as they are just dominating on the glass, on defense, in the passing lanes. John Carroll has not found an answer just yet. Jay Bass hits the free throw. He's got 5, an 11-point lead for the Stags. Nice passing from the Patriots, down low. Battle fouled on the putback attempt, took a knee to the head from Caden Walton, but he'll bounce up.
It's interesting that you brought this up, that like it's hard to be a team that's just playing that hard, and we've seen this DeMatha team a couple of summers. This is the first time I've seen them collectively 1 through 8 that's coming in rotation, that they're just going at teams like this, like defensively and offensively. Usually it's like maybe 1 or 2 guys that are setting the tone. No, it's all 5.
Well, DeMatha, they come off 3 straight Summer League title game appearances. They had won 2 in a row before being dethroned by the Tenley Tigers last summer. Battle hits his second. He goes 1 for 2. The Summer League trophy is in the building tonight. Championship game is on July 3rd, scheduled for 7 p.m. Bullis and Spring Mills will face off in our second semifinals game. Cross up by Wallace, kicks it out, and Christian Proctor, who just checked in, couldn't handle.
Not a bad read though by Wallace. Look, great. That's great basketball IQ. But hey, people got to be ready.
Proctor and Bo Daniels are in, along with Cade Sebastian. 10 points separate these two teams. DeMatha up, 7:24 to play in the first half, and Abel brings that down like a wide receiver going for a 50-50 ball, looking for room, finds it, and the putback attempt by Battle, no good. And finally, the third chance from Battle, it's in. Timeout, Mike Jones. The DeMatha calling the first time out of the game with 7:08 to play in the first half. They lead 26-18. Jacob Wallace with 9 points, leading all scorers. And I mean, we've been seeing how dominant DeMatha has been pretty much in all phases of the game. You talk about a player who checks all the tools, offense, defense, grabbing rebounds, court vision, and everyone for DeMatha seems to be clicking and moving in such a fluid motion.
No, that is so true, and that's what I said. Like, it's hard to beat teams that are kind of moving like as one, almost like a marching band. How they move with one sound, one band. You know, we all know the movie reference I'm trying to make, but it's hard to beat teams like that are in sync and trying to move as one. So if John Carroll wants to break that rhythm that they have together right now, is they got to make those smart extra passes and try to break their speed and break that rhythm. Almost kind of distract them a little bit.
And DeMatha also showcasing their depth. They are blessed with a full roster. Sebastian gets caught up, and Battle doesn't like that foul call.
I wouldn't either, but it is what it is. Stripes makes the call, Stripes makes the call.
As that's now 16 fouls on John Carroll, 5 on DeMatha. Battle's first, but Chinia Feline will relieve him of duties temporarily. Inbound to Wallace. McKnight back to Wallace. He'll try and drive with the left. Stops. Out to Sebastian. Thought about a three, but nice closeout. And that was a push against Aiden Abel. So it'll be 7 team fouls. And it'll send Kate Sebastian to the line early. And now we're going to have to watch this because DeMatha will now be shooting free throws on every foul the rest of the first half.
Wow.
With 6:52 to go, it could be a lot of freebies as Sebastian hits the first.
You know, the old saying is, that I usually say, is free throws win ball games. So that could be not only the difference maker just in the half, but overall in the game. Especially with this much time left in the first half. Yeah.
Sebastian, almost an 82% free throw shooter in the regular season, goes 2 for 2 there. 5 points for him. Back up to that 10-point lead for DeMatha. Abel, double team, stop short, and foul against Sebastian. Ace Meeks will check back in for Jamal McKnight. First foul against Sebastian, team 6th. Both teams battling hard. Schofner will inbound. Immediately down low, Abel finds some room. Nice post moves from Aiden Abel, and he's fired up. Been put in check to start off this game. Only 3 points for him. Wallace, Sebastian for 3, out. Abel with the board. And Sebastian intercepting it on the defensive end, trying to take it all the way. Westervelt's in the way. And now here come the Patriots. Westervelt stops short, puts it up with the right. Clark overpowered on the rebound. Meeks to Wallace. Back to Meeks. Playing hot potato behind three-point range. They keep going back and forth. Proctor for 3 from the corner, leaves it short. Tip up by Sebastian. Meeks will try to hand it a 3. That one rims in. Spin around and in for Ace Meeks. 7 points for Meeks. 11-point lead for DeMatha. Three-pointer Abel. That one's cashed. Abel at 18 points, 4 boards, and at 2 threes in the win over the Seahawks in the quarterfinals. Gap back down to an 8-point lead, back up to 11 by Ace Meeks.
Wow. Two back-to-back threes for Mr. Meeks. Unbelievable.
Up to 10 points for him. And that lead again back up to 11. Schofner, shot coming too strong. Westervelt bullied by Bo Daniels. The 6'7" sophomore having his way with these rebounds. Meeks, strong drive, puts it up, and Daniels finishes. You can't stop DeMatha when they try. You can't stop DeMatha when they make mistakes. And John Carroll needs some time to think about it as DeMatha takes a 13-point lead with 4:41 to go.
That was a heck of a run that they just went on for DeMatha. I mean, my thing is that you got to find a way to slow that down. I'd rather lose off the three-point line than let them give me off-chance chances to hit passes through the gap and attack and penetrate and do that driving kick. I don't know why John Carroll has decided to say, hey, we need to be disciplined and actually slow down Ace Meeks, Wallace, all their fast guards, and just let's try to force Sebastian to force the win off the three-point line. I would just you got to cut them off at some point.
Well, I would think you look at John Carroll offensively, and they're putting up a lot of shots from distance. Right. They haven't been able to drive inside. The paint is clogged by those DeMatha bigs. Bo Daniels doing a fantastic job there, along with Charles Thomas at moments, and they're really moving on a string to clog up those driving lanes. So John Carroll, they're forced to kick out to shoot threes. They don't have a lot of great three-point shooters. They shot 3 of 20 against the Seahawks from three-point range in the quarterfinals, so it's not their forte.
No, it's not the forte, and that's why I'm saying, like, okay, offensively, it's not hitting the shots. You're not a high percentage shooting three-point team in comparison to DeMatha. You got to find some other ways to get to the basket. And when they do get the good open shots, they're passing the ball around, they're moving. It's very quick passes that even at one of the last possessions, Ace Meeks jumped out of the play because he was trying to gamble. So be smart with those passes and try to look for a disciplined shot. Use the entire shot clock right now, if I was John Carroll, to get a good offensive bucket.
Noah Schubert and Isaac Harris bringing you the action on SASN TV, your home for the Capital Hoops Summer League. First of our 2 semifinal games. 4:30 to play in this first half, and there's a steal by Cole Bowser to start things off after the John Carroll timeout. Bowser 1 and 3, puts it down low. Daniels, oh my goodness, Bo Daniels, watch out below.
Wow, way to show that you're the big man on campus, Bo.
And Daniels is just a sophomore. I mean, we've seen young, tall talent come through DeMatha. Baba Olodotun, I don't know if you remember that name.
I remember.
As there's an answer from John Carroll. And maybe Daniels is that next big thing. It was Chinia Phelan on the other end for the Patriots. Of course, Baba now very highly ranked player in the class of 2027.
Extremely high, not just slightly, just the #1 player
in the country.
In the country. Potentially, lottery pick in 4 years. So,
Jacob Wallace at the line.
Prototypical Montgomery County basketball things.
And the first free throw bounces in for Wallace. He's in a double figures himself. Wallace does hold a basketball offer from Siena, but more of a football guy himself. USF, West Virginia, Marshall, among others, knocking on his door. Really 5'10" senior defensive back for this DeMatha team, who misses his second free throw. 39-25 Stags lead, 3:50 to play in this first half. Harris Lee, the artist battle, Abel for 3. That one is good. Abel hits his second shot from distance, 9 for him. Still an 11-point hole. Trying to double team Meeks. He gets around it and makes them pay with another made three-pointer. That's 3 makes from beyond the arc for Ace Meeks.
Wow.
Might want to consider some closeout defense, and there's a skying block from Bo Daniels. Abel gets caught up. He's got nowhere to go, and he has to call a timeout, but he can't before he travels. This John Carroll team is all out of sorts. DeMatha has them flummoxed.
Yeah, and this is not the time of the game that you want to rattle. Toward the end of the first half. Don't give them don't give DeMatha that satisfaction.
As the Stag, keep going.
No, it's a rattle. Yeah, it's a rattle. No, just don't give them that satisfaction. No, I apologize. Go ahead, Noah.
As the Stags have put up 42 points with under 3 minutes to go in the first half, and make that 45 as Ace Meeks drills another three-pointer. He's got 4 of them things. It's now a 17-point DeMatha lead, 45-28, and this game is already getting out of control. Turnover, Abel loses the handle, and Meeks will take it up the floor. Meeks looking back for the call. Abel's playing him all the way to half court. Sebastian taking his space, flips it. Bowser spins, loses the handle down low. It's going to be out of bounds off of his heel. Or no, they're going to say it went off of John Carroll. So 9 seconds to shoot for the Stags. Meeks will take the inbound. Caden up top. Daniels can't finish with the right hand. Caden Walton just checked in. Arrow able to get it back as we are ticking towards 2 minutes until halftime. Chinia Phelan takes a screen from Andrew Clark. Has to stop short. Abel there to support. Backs up. Spins with 10. Abel, great moves down low, off glass, and in. If there's any way this team could get a spark, Aiden Abel with 1:50 to go. 11 points for the junior. And it's a 15-point DeMatha lead still, 45-30. Abel went 1 for 2 in his first trip to the line. And he converts a three-point play. 12 points for Aiden Abel. 45-31, Stags in the lead with 1:50 to go. Carson Schofner checks back in for John Carroll. Jamal McKnight Jr. on the floor for DeMatha. Schofner pressing defense, bodying up on McKnight. Meeks between the legs and loses it. Walton there to help him out, baseline, and he's fouled from behind. And I think Westervelt took a shot to the face for good measure. Looks to be okay. That'll be his second foul. He'll try to shake it off. Meanwhile, Caden Walton's at the line. 63.6% free throw shooter in the regular season. Hits the first. Danny Bass back in for Bo Daniels. Walton, another senior for this DeMatha squad, 6'4" forward. And the shooter's touch. Second one bounces in. 4 points for Walton. Hail Mary pass to Aiden Abel, and there's Walton getting his hands dirty on defense off of those free throws.
Yeah, no, great ball movement from John Carroll. Those are the type of things that you need right now to try to break that press. But hey, I'm giving up that was great defensive. That was a great defensive stop. Very impressive.
As Walton not content just making those free throws, had to get back on defense as well. Battle swings it. Chinia Fayline puts it up off glass. And board down to Charles Thomas. McKnight quickly up the floor. Sebastian bodies his way down low. Turnaround, finishes with the right hand. 7 points for Cade Sebastian. 1:05 to play. 49-31. DeMatha lead. Abel, long three-pointer. He's backing up but misses. Nice positioning from Battle. Abel will try his hand again. This one also no good. And board to Meeks. So we're under 50 seconds. Meeks recovers his dribble. Slows it down. Schofner out there in no man's land. Getting around the screen from Cade Sebastian. Melee for the basketball. Sebastian, hard drive inside. Back-to-back baskets for Cade Sebastian. 9 for him. Shot clock turned off. Long range three, Chinia Fayline, it rims in and out. McKnight grabs the rebound, taking it up the floor. Trying to go coast to coast instead, dumps it off. Charles Thomas fouled on the shot. It's a 20-point lead for the Stags, 51-31. Charles Thomas will look to extend it from the line. Thomas, one of those interesting characters that we've seen develop in this DeMatha program. Always played second fiddle to Malcolm Thomas. But now that Malcolm has graduated, Charles is getting more minutes. And he averaged 10.5 points per game in the regular season on almost 50% shooting from the field.
Very efficient. Love to see it, and love that. That's a great step up, and obviously no relation to the Thomas family, but great step up right there.
He misses both free throws. 10 seconds for John Carroll to try and stop the bleeding right before halftime. Clark, he gets blocked by Thomas on the defensive end. 4 seconds. Can they get a shot up? Abas, it's off into the left, And that'll do it for our first half. A 20-point lead for the DeMatha Stags. They lead this one 51-31. And John Carroll grasping for answers there in the first half.
Yeah, for a 20-point lead, it doesn't feel like a 20-point lead. And it does. And like, if you didn't show the whole score, you would think this is like maybe like a 10-point game, maybe an 8-point game. So I feel like John Carroll has to go into this second half and feel like, hey, don't look at the scoreboard. We're still in this game. There's still an opportunity to play. We just got to make smarter offensive plays and smarter defensive plays in that run. So hopefully, it's a stop runs and just continue off those runs and just build off momentum off of those, being patient with offense, using the entire shot clock, slowing down Ace Meeks and Cade Sebastian, slowing down those faster guards, and just box out and not rebound. One of the keys I was going to say for this game is who's ever winning the rebounding battle is going to win this game. Right now, DeMatha is winning it statistically. We don't even have the whole stats yet. So right now, you got to literally box out, rebound, and isolate and force bad threes on the backcourt and, like, force Ace Meeks to make a bad shot or get him to at least force him to make a bad look at least. That's what we have. That's what John Carroll has to do.
Well, Meeks has been making up for lost time. He's got 16 first-half points of DeMatha's 51. He's made 4 three-pointers here in the first half. Jacob Wallace backing up with 10 and Cade Sebastian with 9. On the other side of things, Aiden Abel has 12 and Caden Chinia-Feline with 7. And they're really the only bright lights for this John Carroll team, as DeMatha has fully jumped ahead. I mean, they're up by 20 on this scoreboard, and the return of Ace Meeks has been night and day for this DeMatha team. And in the game against Tenley, they looked confused. They were getting flustered in the passing lanes. I mean, Tenley played them pretty much to the brink, and that was with the return of Jaden Fort, who had himself a game, 19 points in that quarterfinal game for Tenley. But now, with Ace Meeks back, they look relaxed, they look poised, the offense seems to be clicking, and I think it's that veteran leadership playing a part.
Ace is like, I guess in the metaphoric terms, Ace is the captain of the ship, as we can see. Based off what you described, it's like, okay, we lost our captain. And they weren't sinking, they were still floating, but they weren't moving with the current. Ace is like now steering the boat and saying, all right, I'm back, guys. Let me show you where to go. Let me show you, put you in the right places as a point guard. And Ace is playing like a traditional point guard. And yes, now he's the dynamic scorer in that light, but if you force him to say, hey, I'd rather have more assistant points, we're looking at that. So I think DeMatha kind of feels like they're now confident, comfortable, saying, hey, we have our captain back, not just talking about, our athletic captain, but we have the captain of the boat back. We have the steerer of the boat. We have the bus driver back. We have someone who's in charge of what this crazy machine that we call is DeMatha basketball right now. And the veteran leadership, the senior experience, the four-year high school experience is coming out and it's finally showing. It's like, hey, guys, I got you. Don't worry. Just trust me. If you got faith, just trust me.
Now, DeMatha, they were only able to grab 27 team rebounds against Tenley, and I think that's what has been leaps and bounds better, is that they are cleaning up on both the offensive and defensive glass. John Carroll, they have not been gifted with second chance points, even with DeMatha not being able to hit their second or third putbacks on offense. They're still creating those opportunities, and they are draining clock as they're doing so as well, and also draining the energy of a John Carroll team with far less depth.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing to do. I mean, DeMatha, we all know that DeMatha is always going to have the biggest depth out of all the Summer League rosters. Very rare that there's another team that can compete with that. John Carroll's got to realize, okay, they're going to try to wear us down. At some point, I feel like Mike Jones might platoon them and just go 5 in, 5 out, which is really scary, and you don't want that to happen, especially in a Summer League game. So if I'm John Carroll, you got to be patient. Feline's got to get very patient with the shot selection. Everyone's got to be very patient with the shot selection. I would stop pressing altogether and just like fall back in a zone or fall back in a matchup man and just say, hey, look, we're going to just force these traps and we're just going to get better shots off it. Our defense is going to be our offense. We're not going to press. We're not going to do what you guys do, but just be patient, because DeMatha isn't doing anything too crazy, right? No, you don't. I mean, if you're seeing, like, what would you say from your perspective, just looking at it, like, okay, if I'm John Carroll, DeMatha's not running any really particular defense outside of their press. They're just playing harder man-to-man. They just want it a little more. How would you see it if you want to slow down?
Oh, I mean, I think that John Carroll, they're doing a good job at playing beyond the arc, but they are getting vexed by the high screens.
Right.
Even if they're able to get around, it creates just that foot of space, maybe even 6 inches of space that someone like Ace Meeks needs to get some room to run that offense. Cade Sebastian has been doing a fantastic job at keeping his eyes up on the offense, tracking the guards, and being a dynamic floor player, and maybe giving up some shot room. You know, some shooters, they sit in the corner.
Right.
You know, they just stay put. But Sebastian, he has been following the offense around, like I said, on a string and setting those high screens that have been at least putting a temporary stop on that John Carroll defense.
No, and I think that's just called C-ball. He's playing really good C-ball man defense. That's something that that's a high level way of thinking and high level IQ that you see that Cade Sebastian is showing. And, you know, if I was John Carroll, I'd take some pointers off that. See what he's doing and try to mimic it on yours. That's the only thing I'd say, like, hey, you see what the other team's doing, just try to mimic that. See what that happens. See if they like the taste of their own medicine. Now, will it work? Will it slow them down? Maybe. But will it be the all-end-all for the game? Not exactly. There's got to be more to it.
Now, final point I want to put for the world, Andrew Clark held to 4 points in the first half. He had 22 and 10 on 11 of 15 shooting in the win over the Seahawks, and he's the height for John Carroll, the 6'8" forward, honestly a stretch 5 at this point.
Right.
And he has been held to basically nothing.
Yeah, they know how to just contain him. Say, hey, he's their focal point of their offense. Based off that last game, make somebody else win the game for John Carroll, not their bigs.
Well, it's 16 minutes between DeMatha and a spot in a 4th consecutive Summer League championship game as Westervelt misses the first layup, and a foul, the artist battle. And also 16 minutes for John Carroll to pull off something miraculous at this point. I mean, as they trail by 20 with 15:45 to go, it's going to have to be a lot of John Carroll and not a lot of DeMatha, as there is a turnover off the rip.
Oof. Yeah, and that's going to be kind of hard to prevent. And hopefully John Carroll can try to be patient with that as well.
Chinia Feline will walk stride for stride with Jacob Wallace. But Wallace has his eyes up only on the offense. Sebastian, like I said, coming to the basketball, dumping it down for Big Bo Daniels. He misses off the glass. Board to Meeks. As Meeks retreats to half court. Sebastian cut, loses it and has it stolen. Westervelt, it's a 2-on-2 the other way, down at the artist battle, off glass and in for the first points of the second half.
That's brutal. That's not brutal, but that's a start. It's a start.
Other side, and oh my goodness, a circus shot from Ace Meeks. Made it look easy.
Wow. Beautiful.
18 for Meeks, back up to that 20-point deficit. Abel was backing up Wallace, and it's going to be an offensive foul against the artist battle. That's his second of the game. Both teams now with a 1 apiece, and that's something you really can't afford if you're John Carroll, is just giving up possessions like that.
No, you can't. Ball security is job security at this point, especially when you're down 20.
Bowser in the game. Turn around, finding some space, putting up at the left. Off the backboard, rims in and out. Sebastian draws contact on the putback attempt. So Cole Bowser, he's been scoreless in this game. Had 11 points and 3 boards in the win over Tenley. But sometimes it's what doesn't show up in the stat sheet that can matter, as Bowser is another one of those DeMatha players who, in the absence and graduation of some of their seniors, he's had to step up, and especially with Ace Meeks not being in the lineup for most of the Summer League.
Bowser's kind of playing the role of, right now, obviously you said stats don't show. He's playing the Draymond right now. Not the energy and effort guy, but the guy who's like, I'm an impact without scoring.
And there's a steal from DeMatha. Bowser down low. And down low contact will put him on the line. That's going to be against Aiden Abel, his third.
Ooh. Team's
third. And if there's one guy you don't want in foul trouble for John Carroll, it's Aiden Abel, the heart and soul of this Patriots team.
You got to be a little smarter right now because this is too early in the half to get 3 fouls right now. And last thing you want to do is foul out when you're not even down, when you're not even in that 2-minute mark, the last 2 minutes of the game, last 90 seconds of the game. You don't know. Not a good look.
Bowser connects on both free throws for his first points. Averaged 6 points a game in the regular season. He's got 2 now. Another whistle. Off ball. It's going to be against Meeks. His second. John Carroll now able to get it in. Westervelt, there's some clean passing from the Patriots. Able to pull up for 3, and this one finds home. Aiden Abel, his first points of the second half, 15 for the game. 56-36 lead for the Stags. And broken up defensively. Westervelt handoff, Chinia Phelan, 1-2 punch. No putback. Westervelt, third chance, also won't go. Battle for the rebound. Meeks has it with a head full of steam. Other end, draws contact from Abel, that's his fourth. Aiden Abel dangerously close to fouling out of this basketball game. With 13:57 to play, I mean, if he fouls out, then you can pretty much call the game. If it wasn't over when they're down by 20, it's going to be really hard to come back without him on the floor.
No, it is, because he's, like you said, he's the heart and soul of this team. He's the tone difference, the tone maker. And unless he's got that vocal presence on that bench to really set the tone and help these bench guys step up, the guys who need to step up in his place, then maybe they have a shot. But I feel like he's more the coach on the floor for them right now.
2 for 2 from the line for Meeks. He's got 20. As Schofeld, Smith, and Leaf the Artist Battle checking in. Full court pass and into our setup here.
Thank you, guys.
And we appreciate the assist from James Westervelt.
Appreciate it, James. Always good.
Give credit where credit's due, you know?
Yes.
22-point Stags lead. 13:40 to go. Smith on the sideline. And Paris Lee was that third John Carroll player to check in. Meeks on the other side. And why not an and one for Ace Meeks? The type of game he's having. 22 points for the senior in a homecoming of homecomings.
Yeah, no, and I feel bad just for John Carroll there because you made that turnover and you try to get it back. Bad foul, though. But Ace Meeks is really showing, like, hey, guys, you know.
Remember me.
Remember me, exactly. Remember me. Like the song in Coco in the Disney movie, Remember Me.
I think the music career might have to be put on hold for a little bit.
I'm with you.
It's a 25-point Stags lead, and now they're just rubbing it in. The steal, the foul, and one for Cole Bowser. At this point, DeMatha, John Carroll playing for pride.
You're not wrong. You have to play for pride at this point. John Carroll didn't take advantage of those possessions, and, you know, like I said, you know, that job security, that ball security didn't really take care of the ball over there. And, you know, DeMatha took advantage of it. And they're making their shots. Ace Meeks, like I said, he's steering this machine, this little engine that could, or big engine, because, you know, they're not small and they're deep and they're aggressive. And collectively, it's hard to beat 5 guys that are playing at the same speed and the same tempo.
Bowser, 3 points there. It's a 28-point lead for the Stags. John Carroll getting a taste of their own medicine as they were up by as much as 25 against the Seahawks. And now DeMatha is coming in and absolutely dismantling John Carroll right now. Sebastian finishes with the left. It's a 30-point Stags advantage. Everything is just breaking loose here in the Morgan and Kathy Wooten Gymnasium. Other side, Smith finally gets something to fall for John Carroll. Meeks puts an end to that. Ace Meeks, his 5th made tray, and he comes up limping. He motions over to the bench for a sub. He is in a little bit of pain. Three-pointer answer too strong. Wallace with the board, and Mike Jones will not call a timeout on this possession. Sebastian falls short. Lee with the rebound. Kenya Phelan scoop it up and in, and the foul. As Ace Meeks will walk over to the bench, and probably this will be his last time on the court for this game. McKnight, Thomas, Caden Walton, and Danny A. Bass will check in along with Christian Proctor. And this might be the last time that we see any of the starting 5 for DeMatha, as they have a 29-point lead, could be 28 after Chania Phelan's free throw, but with 12:19 to go.
It's a hard tree to climb, man. It's a hard comeback to try to do. I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's looking impossible.
Chania Phelan hits the free throw. He's got 10. Carson Hurd checked in for John Carroll as they get a steal. Mid-range jumper is good for Paris Lee. So a 69-43, 26-point lead for DeMatha, and Mike Jones will call another timeout with 12:11 to go. And I mean, we assumed that this game was pretty much in hand for DeMatha at halftime. John Carroll, they're still on the floor, they're still fighting, but DeMatha, they were able to amount to over a 30-point lead, and it's pretty much just going to be coasting and keeping John Carroll at 2-3 arms lengths away.
You're not wrong, and my thing is, I'm trying to see if this DeMatha bench is going to be like, all right, we're going to keep on the gas pedal and maybe try to beat him by 40, or is John Carroll's like, all right, we're going to play for pride. We're not going to get blown out here. We're going to try to cut the deficit by 15 points. And maybe we'll see what happens. Still 12 minutes left. Very impossible to do, but this is about the heart thing, about your pride thing.
Well, the Stags had 12 players who put up 3 or more points per game in the regular season. By far, the most depth of any team that we've seen in the Summer League. McKnight is running point. And Proctor has it poked away. 18 seconds on the shot clock. Inbound by Proctor to Thomas. Bounce to McKnight, down low, and a straight-up block by Theartis Battle. He's saying this game, not over for me.
Right.
As he challenged Danny Bass at the rim and won. Battle, 6'5" senior guard with a lot of bounce. Walton finds McKnight behind the back. McKnight down low and just over the head of Charles Thomas.
Love the vision, just was not there just yet.
Zach Smith back in the game for John Carroll. And for this DeMatha team, every time that they come into the Summer League, it seems that Mike Jones has them prepped. Now, you play a tough schedule in the WCAC, and you come to the Summer League with brand new faces, brand new responsibilities for all your players, and they really use it as a kind of trial run to see how competitive are they going to be, what is this team going to look like for the regular season. But all these players, they play every game like it's a WCAC match.
I feel like that's the mentality and the culture that Coach Jones is trying to bring. You know, prepping for the long haul of the gauntlet of a season. They are DeMatha. They are essentially what is a staple of DC area high school basketball. They represent the DMV when they go to Springfield, the Hall of Fame game, when they go to City of Palm. So, yeah, no, press the whole summer, get in shape, because it's a long year.
And, I mean, DeMatha, one of those staple schools nationally. Everybody knows the name DeMatha, and Coach Morgan Wooten, everybody knows that name. And I think you're absolutely right that there is a sense of pride for putting that DeMatha name on your chest, representing the Stags. As there's a little bit of a tussle here. Things might be getting a little chippy. McKnight, referees separate. We talked about semifinals a couple years back in that Hayfield game.
Yeah.
Notoriously. Seems like everybody's settled down. There's no need for any form of physical altercations here in the Summer League.
No need. You got 10 minutes left of this game. Just finish with pride. No need to talk. No, just finish the game. Finish the game the way it's meant to play.
With 10:52 on the clock, 69-46. Stags up by 23. McKnight gets caught up, and held ball is the call. So John Carroll able to earn it back. McKnight and Chinia Fayline were the ones getting a little bit talkative. Mike Jones disagreeing with the call. I think he wanted a foul. It's usually when you get one guy going to a sea of 4 players, someone fouls him at some point.
Usually that's typically the argument.
Battle strong drive does not yield any results. McKnight up to Caden Walton. Has it poked away, so nice defense from James Westervelt, but McKnight was there for some reinforcements. 12 to shoot, Proctor to McKnight with 10. Knight, cross up behind his back. Nice defense, loses it. 3 seconds. Walton fouled. Are they going to give him the basket? I think they will.
Wow, that's a hard play. That's a hard fought. That's really hard fought.
Chinia Fayline pleading his case that it was on the floor, and also trying to call for some off-ball fouls. There's going to be a lot of resentment from the Sean Carroll team when this final buzzer sounds. I can tell you that, and I don't know if I can guarantee you what this final handshake line is going to look like, if there even is one. Sometimes when you have 2 teams that are as fired up as these 2 are, as the 3-point play converted by Walton, sometimes you just want to get in the car and go home.
Right, yeah. No, I feel like there's no need to really meet. You know, this is all what happened in the game. The score kind of explained itself, or at least the second half tape will explain itself like, hey, it got out of hand.
John Carroll making the trip all the way from right by Baltimore. McKnight pull up, short. And Jamal McKnight is scoreless in this game. Average 9 in the regular season at 13 points and 6 assists as Smith hits his second 3. Finishing my thought, McKnight 13.6 assists in the win over Tenley. 72-49. Carroll not giving up quite yet. Travel for Caden Walton. And Aiden Abel and Andrew Clark will be checking back in for Smith battle Westervelt. Or pardon me, just battle in Westervelt. Smith staying in the basketball game. Abel with those 4 fouls. It's a 23-point DeMatha lead now, 72-49. Pull-up jumper in for Caden Chinia Fayline. 13 for him. It's still a 20-point game, but John Carroll is showing a lot more fight.
Yeah, my thing is, where was the fight in the beginning of the half? You kind of let it go away. But I'm not mad. It is what it is. The show fight now. You got 8 minutes to finish the pride.
And to respond, Sebastian and Meeks are back in for DeMatha. So I guess Meeks' limp wasn't as bad as we thought. They say hurt but not injured, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
McKnight misses the 3-pointer, and Clark boxing out. It's going to be an over the back against Charles Thomas. Team foul number 5 for DeMatha. John Carroll's at 7. And the artist battle back in for Smith, pardon me. Danny Avas to the bench. Jacob Wallace is in. Bo Daniels also on the floor. Clark, that is blocked on the three-point attempt. You can see that coming from a mile away, but the fantastic, that's a double block. They're going to put it on the backboard. As Daniels almost went 2 for 2 on those denials.
No, that was a proper call. That was a proper goaltend. I don't know. Don't trip, Bo. It's okay.
5 second-half points now for Aiden Abel. 15 for the game. It's an 18-point DeMatha lead. So John Carroll chipping away. Wallace jumper no good. Chinya Phelan with the rebound. 8:06 to go. 18 points to make up. Battle, Paris Lee down low. Clark back out to Lee. Lee for 3. Not to be found there. Meeks, he's going to be fouled in transition by Chinya Phelan. His second foul. 7:51 to go, and John Carroll, I mean, they're showing signs of life.
They are.
That's why they put Clark and Abel back on the floor, because the second/third wave for the team were able to add a little bit of energy in the past couple of minutes or so. As Meeks hits his first free throw.
This is whether if that energy is enough to try to get him over the hump. That's the thing, to try to get him over, like, all right, let's try to get something going here. Can we get on a run?
And Meeks goes 2 for 2. 28 points for Meeks. I mean, he's knocking on 30's door. Abel in the corner. Meeks, eyes up, hands up. Abel, step back, it's off to the left. The pace of this game has certainly slowed as we've gotten below the 10-minute mark. 7:33 to go, and the Stags up 20. And Wallace loses it. Chinya Phelan, eyes up, finds the artist battle, and Abel is blocked from behind. Foul on Bowser. His second, team 6th. So Abel will shoot 2. 15 on the game. Abel selected for the Capital Hoops Summer League All-Star Game, which occurred right before the beginning of the playoffs. Jamal McKnight and Jacob Wallace also in that game for DeMatha. And Abel goes 2 for 2. 17 for Aiden Abel. Back down to an 18-point lead for DeMatha. And it's going to be an off-ball foul. Going against Smith, that's his 3rd. Ooh. Kate Sebastian, the afflicted party, will shoot the 1-and-1.
Box out, John Carroll.
And rightfully so, they grab that rebound. Sebastian with an uncharacteristic miss from the line. Clock ticking down to 7 minutes. 74-56, Stags lead. Chinya Phelan finds a seam, and he's fouled down low. It's going to be the 3rd foul against Bowser. And are they going to give him the active shooting free throw? I think they will.
I think they are. They should.
The referee motioned for 2 with his hand. Chinya Phelan hit his lone free throw this game, and he buries the first one. 14 for the 6'3" senior guard. And we'll call it an even 15 points.
That sounded like oxymoron, even 15.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, fives, I like fives, even numbers. You know, they feel good. Speaking of feel good, a great move by Sebastian. But DeMatha coming up short on the possession. John Carroll, 6:34 to go. They trail by 16. Abel in between a lot of defenders.
Not the best shot selection from Abel, but I'll give him the effort for trying.
Well, I think at this point in the game, you have to just kind of start putting shots up.
Right.
Because you're going to start losing your possessions down the stretch.
Right.
And you got to make up 16 points somehow, and with a little over 6 minutes to do so, it's going to be hard. Westervelt is called for the foul against Kate Sebastian, and that will do it for James Westervelt. He's got 5, and he will exit this game scoreless. And I don't think he knows it. He's going to get his just desserts, and he is escorted off the floor. So the 6'2" sophomore forward, his summer league will conclude here in the semifinals. And he's still on the floor finally. I mean, you've been a player. You know what it's like.
Yeah. No, I don't want to get off just yet.
And you act clueless, and then you're like, okay, fine, I'll go to the bench.
Which is why the fans start saying left, right, and the pattern goes on.
Sebastian makes the first free throw. Sebastian has picked up a couple offers recently. Lehigh, one of his new ones. He's had American, Bryant, and Towson for a while. Towson offered him when we were first covering the summer league when he was a sophomore.
He was a sophomore, yeah.
Now, all grown up, he's a senior. And that ball is just thrown away by John Carroll. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about covering the summer league for so long, is you get to see these players grow, especially DeMatha. They've been such gracious hosts for us here in Hyattsville. They're the perennial site of the summer league, and you watch all these players as they fill into their roles with this team, and they find their spot in this DeMatha team, and they take pride, as I mentioned, in that DeMatha uniform.
Right, no, and it's a pleasure because we get to see where they all end up. Like Malcolm, watching him for the last 2.5 years. Now he's at Villanova, a very promising Villanova team in the Big East. We get to watch. I mean, we saw Baba Atunde before he transferred out, but we had no idea he was going to be the #1 player in the country later on. So we get to see a lot of interesting things in the summer league before, maybe right before the stars start shining.
And it almost makes you think about, well, you look at the players who are on the floor for DeMatha right now, and all the upperclassmen. This team is riddled with senior talent. There's a made basket for the Stags. Wallace. When you go down the list, you have Wallace, who's a senior. Bowser's a senior. Meeks is a senior. Sebastian is a senior. Charles Thomas, Nigel Cross, Michael Driscoll, Caden Moulton. Those are all seniors, as there's a three-pointer from Chinia Fayline. He's got 18, and it's a 17-point game. But back to my point, I mean, this DeMatha team are riddled with seniors who we saw as sophomores in our first summer covering this.
Oh no, and I think it's a beautiful thing because, Coach Jones just got here at that point. Now, although this DeMatha team does not look as big and as stacked as the other WCAC teams, I think they found their system. I think they finally found who they are, their identity, that if collectively as a group, they stay at one rhythm, defensively, hard-nosed, almost like I hate this, dare I say it, a VCU-esque havoc type situations. Hey, we're not going to be the biggest team on the floor, especially in WCAC and especially on a national schedule. We're not going to have 6'10" flying around, but I can tell you right now, 1 through 5 is prepared to play any defensive position. 1 through 5 is prepared to go to war. And that's what we're seeing. Ace Meeks is probably the most mature guard I've seen since Mason So, and that was our first summer.
who just has this tight, solid handle that can just shows that, hey, I'm mature enough. I'm playing like a college freshman now. That's a long time coming, and that's just a testament to Coach Jones and what he's trying to build here.
And John Carroll, of course, hailing out of the MIAA Black region, coming off of a tough season, but I'm seeing a lot of potential with this John Carroll team. I mean, Aiden Abel just now coming into his own. Andrew Clark, also his junior running mate. And you see guys like who are stepping up. Harris Lee is getting minutes. The Artist Battle, the senior guard, going into his senior year with a lot to prove. Zach Smith, a senior himself. The sophomore, James Westerveld. I mean, all these guys, Caden Chinya, Phelan, a senior, it's their last ride. And
this game will show us a lesson. As like, hey, like, we don't want to end like this. So hopefully they take this game, whether win or lose, more likely it might be in loss based off the score. Take this game and put into perspective, hey, we're not trying to end our careers this way. And John Carroll, they have so much potential to dominate Baltimore.
4:45 to play, 78-61, Stags in the lead, looking to punch their ticket to a 4th consecutive appearance in the Capital Hoop Summer League championship game and make it 3 out of 4 as Daniels is fouled. And Bo Daniels, I mean, we've been tooting his horn this whole game, but he is really shining as a 6'7" sophomore forward. I like to believe that he's still growing as a 16-year-old. You know, you're not done growing yet. And B, he could embrace. He has the same build as that Malcolm Thomas type, long, versatile, crashes the glass. I mean, Thomas had his hands everywhere. I mean, his hair was flowing behind him as he was crashing the glass on every play, blocking shots, closing out, just like his dad. And now Daniels is coming in. I think he's really embracing that role.
I think he is, and I think that's what Mike Jones is trying to preach, that positionless basketball, saying, hey, we got one tall, athletic dude like the Manimal who plays 3 positions. And I think Bo's doing a good job trying to, embrace that role.
Harris Lee makes his second shot from deep. DeMatha has crossed the 80-point threshold. They lead 80-64, 4:10 to go. And it's almost like you can see, I mean, I'm going to keep harping on this, about this next generation. Jamal McKnight, the guards in front of him in Wallace and Meeks. You can see the potential flowing through as he puts up a tough basket for his first make of this game. Abel, he's spooked by Daniels, puts it out. Lee contests a 3-pointer. Daniels with the board. Wallace down on the court, but gets himself back up. And McKnight can slow things down. Draws the double team. And it looks like that DeMatha, they're going to try and bleed this shot clock. No reason to put up any quick shots. They're up by, at this point, 18 points, and now make it an even 20. Jamal McKnight, 4 points.
Yeah, no need to rush right now if I'm DeMatha. Hey, just try to run some offense and try to, make sure don't give him too much hope.
And I think that DeMatha is doing a great job at keeping this game in their zone. And you saw Carroll, they were able to get within 14, 16 points, and then DeMatha said, no, we're still winning this basketball game. And here they're up by 20 again, 84-64, with just a nick above 2:50 to go.
Yeah, I feel like, how in the TBT they have that target score? I feel like DeMatha's like, all right, we have our target score, we're going to be up by 20. We're going to keep it that way. And I feel like that's the mentality they're going to look at. We're going to keep it at 20. That's at it. If it gets any inch less than 16, we have a problem.
Bowser hits the first free throw. Bowser's also been fielding some offers. Furman, Charleston, Norfolk State among teams that have recently offered him. So he does have the chance to play at the next level.
So, and Coach Jones from Norfolk State would like someone like Bowser. He's been known to have those prototypical types, those 4 and 5s that kind of do everything. They're not scoring, but they're there for defensive presence.
Now, different Coach Jones.
Yeah, different coach. They're Robert Jones from Norfolk State.
No relation. Right?
Yeah, no relation. No relation.
We got Joneses flying everywhere.
It's hard to keep up.
I was trying to make that joke. I was thinking, how would it create itself, and here you come in.
Look at that. Look at that. And they named me Isaac for a reason, and it does mean laughter.
2:24 to go. It's a 22-point Stags lead, and that's going to be a backcourt violation against Jamal McKnight. Tried to toe the line. DeMatha will continue to be undefeated in this summer league. They will improve to 10-0 as they will enter this championship game. And John Carroll, they came in as a 13 seed. So the top 8 teams all got that first round bye. So John Carroll had to play a little bit extra, but they embraced it. And I mean, they took it all the way to the Final Four.
Right. Right. I mean, hey, that shows a lot of potential for the fall and the winter, for the season. I'm proud of you. Regardless of how this game ends, pat yourself on the back, John Carroll.
John Carroll, one of 2 higher seeds that made it this far. The 10th ranked Spring Mills will be taking on the 10th seeded Spring Mills taking on the 6th seeded Bullis team coming up after the conclusion of this game. Should be a fantastic matchup as well. DeMatha will await the winner of that one. They can sit comfortable before the July 3rd championship game. Tip off at 7 p.m. and that'll be right here on SASN TV. McKnight scoops it up, and Clark fighting for it. Still on the floor, off of DeMatha and out of bounds with 1:40 to play.
Right.
And looking ahead with this DeMatha team, I think that they stack up pretty well against Spring Mills, because they have more of that mid-level consistent height versus having kind of that spike in the graph.
Right.
And Bullis, I mean, they have Eric Ryba in the middle, that 7-footer who we're going to see try and put Bullis in the championship game this season against this DeMatha team, a matchup that will most likely fill up the stands with a lot of anxious fans as Smith, with a smile, hits his 3rd three-pointer.
I'm not surprised if that Bullis game versus DeMatha game fills up. I want to believe that is the rematch for the private school state championship from Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct? Like, I just want to believe that is that rematch game. So, yeah, there's a lot on the line for that at the end of matching up, especially for Bullis. Wow, but. Spring Mills is always going to be an interesting case because they're one of the first West Virginia teams to come out of here, to come all the way out here an hour away to come play. And the fact that they're returning 5 starters, which usually at any smaller level program is like, okay, maybe. But in West Virginia, in that high school basketball way, these guys have been playing with each other since the 6th grade. So we may be looking at another Hayfield situation.
Them and Chambersburg, 2 out-of-state teams from a 50-team pool, the largest ever for the Capital Hoops Summer League. And 50 will be whittled down to 2 by the end of tonight's semifinals. It's McKnight, a little shove in the back by Theardis Battle.
A little substitution here. John Carroll's finally starting to put the bench.
Free throws coming for DeMatha. And McKnight misses. And we do have a few bench players coming in for, I believe just her is the new face from the bench for John Carroll. And you're right, DeMatha has put in a few themselves. Michael Driscoll is on the floor. Donovan Wright. Jamal McKnight Jr., Danny Bass, and Christian Proctor with 41.3 seconds left. Aiden Abel is at the line. And now a full bench clear out. Jalen Ortiz-Olfus is in for the Stags. So they get their name in the box score. Abel hits the first free throw. And I mean, you gotta hand it to Aiden Abel. He's had a fantastic summer league, fantastic live period. I mean, he is totally the heart and soul of this John Carroll team. Averaged 21 a game in the regular season. He's got 19 here in the semifinals. He was a summer league all-star, and he still has 2 years left of his high school career.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you're right. Sorry, I just got a little distracted because that was a backcourt violation. That was rightfully so. Yeah, no, I feel like he should take he shouldn't put so down on himself, Aiden, if I was him. Look, this is like, hey, you had a big summer. This is your coming out party. Now the whole DMV and Baltimore knows who you are. So what are you going to do with that now? So I'm proud of him.
Kenya Fayline it short. Shot clock is turned off. And the Stags can dribble it out. And you can hear Mike Jones, I think he's kind of mouthing just tempo, tempo, where they don't have to put a shot up. They try to respectfully dribble it out, but John Carroll's going to force the issue. And Abaz will put up a three. It's no good, and Abel will put up the half-court shot just because, and that'll do it. The DeMatha Stags have punched a ticket to their 4th consecutive Capital Hoops Summer League Championship game. They will await the winner of Spring Mills and Bullis, and it was just an overall fantastic performance from DeMatha, headlined by Ace Meeks, 28 points in his emphatic return to the Stags lineup.
Yeah, he was probably the X factor of this entire game. Ace showed that he's the steer of the ship. He's the driver. He's the captain. He's everything. So the fact of the matter is that is crazy to see that, you know, he's such a dynamic player that he changed the outcome for the whole DeMatha program to for the rest of the summer league. Excuse me. And John Carroll, hats to them. They played hard. It's just, you know, it wasn't hard enough. So they shouldn't keep their heads down for this. This is something that they should look forward to and say, hey, we 13 seed going to the semifinal, not a bad way of the summer. Now look forward to the fall league, look forward to the winter, and build off that and try to knock off Mount St. Joseph, try to knock off Spalding, all those schools in Baltimore. Take what you learned down here, a little hour south, and put it back up on I-95 North.
Cade Sebastian with 14, Jacob Wallace with 12, backing up Meeks on the other side for John Carroll. 19 from Aiden Abel, 18 from Caden Chinia Fayline, as John Carroll falls short. They are eliminated in the semifinals. The DeMatha Stags, the hosts, are back in the championship game. Spring Mills and Bullis will look to fill that second team role and try and take down the Stags and have them fall for a second straight year. And for Isaac Harris, I've been Noah Schubert. We'll bring you your second semifinal game right here where you found the first one on SASN TV.
DMV Hoop Session presents the 2024 Capital Hoop Summer League, showcasing the best high school basketball in the DMV.